You look comfortable. You mind if I have a seat on the bench with you here?
Well, sure, there's room. It's not so comfortable, but yeah, have a seat.
Yeah, but it's such a beautiful day, you know. Sometimes you just want to stop, you know. Then maybe the comfort is that you look like you're dealing with peace of mind, and I feel like I need to go there.
Well, I'll give you a piece of my mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I leave?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
feel good today.
I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe my my humor radar is off beat. Actually, I appreciate that.
Well,
So if I try to respond with sarcasm, you'll know where it came from.
I was
But
just sitting here listening to the birds, and it would be nice to listen to a human.
oh, okay. Your laughter has a bird quality to it. Do you know bird language? Can do you know the sound
I
of
believe
birds?
I communicate with the birds sometimes, but I have to tune in, and I don't always just tune in. Sometimes I just sit here and just kind of, let my mind go free, but I'm not thinking of communicating. But so, every once in a while, I'll hear bird language, particularly, and I think it's aimed at me. I'll hear like, no, it sounds like something else. I can't really do the sound, but it's saying, "Amy over here, Amy over here," and so I know that they know. They can feel. They even know my name or the one that speaks out. So that gets my attention. But right now, I was just sitting here looking at the clouds, listening to the birds, and you came along, and I'm ready to hear a human now. What do you have
Wow.
to say?
Well, nice to meet you, Amy. My name is Demi. If I didn't already say that, it's interesting that you talked about that they know your name because it's one of the things I do in my life. I'm in the arts, but kind of in the science realm too, as a like a journal, like an investigative journalist type of thing. But I also believe in the surreal and things that we cannot see and hear. So I empathize. I care about stories and ways that people hear and listen and think and feel and understand. But a lot of people are afraid to say things like that because they think that no one's going to believe them. You know, I have a story that I want to tell you, but it's a little fresh and it's part of a book I'm writing, and I want to talk about it now. So, but tell me a little more about what's it like when you say the birds know your name.
Well, the first time I heard it, it was, I couldn't believe it. I thought, wait a minute, I'm hearing things. No, it can't be. But I was looking around and I even spotted the bird, but it was more telepathy. It wasn't like literally chirping my name, but it came to me as hello, Amy. But it's a real thing. It sounds strange, but it's real. Um, I felt
Is,
honored. That's
is
how I
there
felt.
besides your name, what information or what communicate? What do you think? Did you interpret it? Did you apply meaning to not knowing? What meaning did you give this? What was the message? What did you
Well,
say? Did you think it was somebody from that you knew or a message, or was it a
yeah.
religious experience, or what? What meaning
Well,
did you apply? And did you but the thing I'm asking is that because of who I am, did you come up with a meaning just to have one? And then did you question it?
no. It also let me know that it had been watching me for years, and it was more of a spirit to spirit thing, and the bird just happened to be the delivery system.
Oh,
And that spirit could also sometimes be in other, sometimes it's the tree, sometimes it might be a plant. It can come from anywhere. Um, but it definitely wants me to know that we're all part of the same spirit. And it was just somehow that information was given to me.
that's beautiful. One of the things that I get a little bit annoyed with our fellow species is that they think that we communicate and trees don't, that the air and the clouds and the rain and the oceans are not all communicating at the same time, and our words are more important than that. And I always found that to be one of the problems with whether or not we're going to make it as a life form. I really care about the trajectory of us as a species on the planet, since we have such an opinion of ourselves that we have a dominant role in what is life on Earth. And so listening to the birds and interpreting it in that way is actually more holistic and probably more genuine, and maybe even more sane than intellectual, conversations or schools of thought. So I applaud your perspective. I think it's healthy.
Do
Glad
you
to,
do you get messages from other parts of nature as well?
I think my origin that led me to live this type of life that I live, in question of what is reality and what are words, comes from being an intuitive child, but not knowing what an intuitive child was, not knowing that I could feel. So in other words, as a young person, as a child growing up, I was, I think, innately uh, always listening to emotion, the reality of emotions, and how everyone was feeling something, including objects, maybe even not just living things, but also objects can contain a kind of vibration that speaks to you, or you touch something and it gives you a feeling. And I always included that, but there was nobody in my world, not in family, not in community, not in my neighborhood, not in my children I grew up around, not in education. There was no one to acknowledge that. So I was basically alone with not understanding who I was. But as I got older and I peeled back the layers of that, I wasn't this unique, broken, unusual child who, you know, communed with the vibration of life as language. Um, so that's kind of I don't know if that answers or responds very well, but that's what it made. That's my whatever you said made me say that.
Well, when you were um did you verbalize these things when you were young, and were you ridiculed
No,
because
I kept it alone in my imagination, but my outward identity as a child, as a son, and as a child, and as a teenager, and as a young adult, going into life and making a living. Um, I think I separated the two. I think it was like an internal private thing that I kept sacred inside me until it was safe enough to kind of let out. And then there's the story of my grandfather. That's how it reemerged for the first. It both reemerged for the first time, and it was with me always. So I don't think it was. I think that's the best I could explain it for now. It both reemerged and was new in my young adult life.
hmm,
It was private. It was my happy place, maybe you could even say. When I found it, it was a happy place, and everything that I grew up with wasn't as happy.
hmm.
I was shy or weakling or not or somewhere between nerd and geek and loser, somewhere in that triangle. I was just different. I was a sensitive. I
Mm,
think it boils down to I was a sensitive.
mm.
So therein lies the communication. The bird you hear. I think you hear the bird and its name and calling you, and that you're a sensitive too. Maybe that's why I'm sitting on this bench with you.
Yes, I I could tell when you approached, and you could tell too. So you spoke.
Did it bother you that I'm not a bird?
No, because birds do a lot of rude things up in the air too.
Oh, what do birds do in the air that are rude? This is a curve. I don't know where this one's going.
Well, sometimes you have to clean the park bench, you know.
Oh, that rude. Oh, yes. Yes. Ode to defecation. I think I wrote a poem about that once.
Gee, how did that go?
That was a shitty poem. What am I going to say?
Oh,
So you a writer too?
oh yes, all my life.
Oh, what has it brought you?
Well, writing was my friend, and I guess it was because it was me. I would write down things when I had nowhere else to put the words. And then I started toying with them, playing with them, and arranging them to create art and self reflection for sure. And the one thing that I took, the first thing that I took when I left home was my writing. And then a few essentials, but writing came first because it was a piece of me, and I'm not just going to leave it anywhere. I needed to have it with me.
When I think of words, I dismiss them unless they contain some sort of creativity or imagination. So I think words to me are more like paint. I think I think painting with words is a better understanding than language that tries to control interpretation and dissemination. So I I like the birds talking to you. And I think imagination is crucial to being rather than existing. That's one of the reasons I'm so attracted to uh, stories where people are afraid to say who they are and what they hear and what they think and what they believe because it's not the hardcore of language. So I think survival is the problem, and the lack of imagination because we have to survive. I think that's why we're failing as a life form. I think we need to make words worth more than what survival does to them, and then in return to us, and then because of us, the way we treat each other, I think we I think it eliminates care.
Well, there's a new thing. It's related to this, but it's a bit of a curve. It's been referred to that we live in a post truth era because the way things are today, and of course, politics screams at you this thing, but I think it goes into other parts of our existence and our living. It doesn't matter, like truth, where the people don't care about. Generally, most people seem not to care about truth anymore. They want strong and bold lies, and they want it to sound like what they believe, what they want to hear. And if those lies are what they want to hear, then that they say is truth. It's a post-truth world. So this today's atmosphere has um, made the meaning of words a kind of farce up to a point. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense, but I think it has more to do with that we don't understand that time is a construct and that we live in time. And actually, all of this has happened before. And I don't think it was a divergent what you said. I think survival is what you're talking about. And what is surviving is fear. The fear of their reality being exposed. So they want their fears to be confirmed. And therein lies the word truth becomes the predominant lie that protects survival of self, and therein lies the destruction of other. We become separate, and then words are no longer viable. They're just teeth and claw. I've often in an experiment that I've done in the past with words, language, and recording, I have a piece called Tooth and Claw. And whenever words are used to survive, then they're really just weapons. And they're no different than teeth and claw. So I think what you're describing is the parameters of the insect kingdom, the reptile kingdom. What kingdom are we as mammals? The biology of us as living life forms. I guess we're not animal, vegetable. I guess we're in the animal kingdom.
Sapiens.
We belong to the animal kingdom. So the animal, vegetable, mineral, and flora and fauna. I'm not a scientist in those realms, so you got to forgive me if I'm using the wrong words.
All
But
living
I think we might be saying the same thing, possibly, or in the same field. What do you think?
I think all living things are capable of lying. It doesn't have to be with words, especially like English, but whatever communication system that insects have, the communication of trees, anything, they may have a reason sometimes
You
to
know, there's
mislead something.
deceit. You're talking about deceit.
Okay, but
And it
self-defense.
was a book that changed my life. I read this book called it was something about deceit, and it mentioned the Venus flytrap. It's a flower, but look how beautiful I am, but really its existence is deceit. And in order to survive, it has to appear to be one thing, but really it's another. And the point is to capture its prey and to feed, to live, and then something has to die for it to live. And when you take the balance out of nature and you add survival, but then you take the human animal, which is different than the human being, I think, therein lies. I'm trying to stay on the same page with you because I like the wavelength we're communicating on. And I hope we're saying the same thing. At the same time, I like where this is going. But what is the worth of words when the point of life is survival?
Well, even if okay, I don't, okay, in the very basic sense, yes, it's all about survival and procreation, which is part of survival, so that the next generation takes your place. Um, Even if it's just for deceit in order for you to protect your own, have enough to protect your own, you still, words are still important for that deceit. But I don't think that's the whole story. That's just part of the story. Um, uh, Words are signals to a greater meaning. Um,
To who? But what if you're talking to somebody who, uh, if they can't find a benefit in saying something to you that makes you inferior to their survival, then you're talking to the Venus flytrap, and you're a fly. So what happens? What happens to the words when? What happens to your? What is the flower? Oh yeah, I'll have a conversation with
every
you,
word
flower.
does not
Yeah.
have to be for you or about you, and you could ignore those words.
Yeah, but
Uh,
this what about those birds doing those terrible things in the sky?
that's just natural and normal. And by the way,
Normal in the case of survival. When you mention survival, and so if I think the worth of words is important when it comes to adding survival, but you can't just say, okay, yeah, that happens with survival, but then words are also important over here. But
they point to
but then it's if it's all one thing, how do
right.
they how does survival and love coexist?
It does. Period.
But
Uh,
what if but so what if survival has a country, a continent, a religion that kills, a race that kills, and weapons that kill, and nuclear things, and the other one has peace and love and nature.
that's the yin yang of existence and of living. Um,
But in order for one to live, it has to feed. And what if it eats all the other countries, all the other religions, and all the other belief systems, and all that's left is the tribe in the Amazon, and they're still hungry.
you can't have one thing without the other. Everything is everything has a dark side and a light side.
Yeah, but
Every
this is
words,
words. So
words.
you're the head of the Amazon tribe, or you're an elder in the Amazon tribe, and I'm civilization, and we're running out of wood or trees or farmland, and you don't know we exist, and I know you exist, but I think that in order for me to make a profit, because we just consume and eat the earth, we're just surviving. We don't care if we eat the earth. We're just civilizations that are just on a rogue survival path, and we don't know how to stop. And even the species beneath the civilization and its people are all pawns to a larger story of survival, and their survival matters more. So they're feeding off their own kind, and then they're feeding off the world in order to survive. They're no smarter than a self-replicating cell that is aimless. There's no consciousness.
But
So
that kind of
words, so they're,
veers.
they're teeth and claw. They're teeth and claw. They're
That
they're they're
kind of
not
well, that kind of veers away from words into actions.
right. But so
Yeah.
but now I'm civilization, and I'm coming to your forest where you live in harmony, and your words are birds and trees and water and air and soil. Your communication's fine. You're communicating with everyone, and I have tanks and guns. What happens to words when it comes to that level of survival? What are they worth?
You can say stop and you don't.
You could say no. You could say
Yeah,
no.
right.
But then I give you a piece of paper saying, here, sign this piece of paper, and we'll give you medicine. We have technology. We'll look at your blood, and then we'll take your blood and we'll bring it back to the lab at our top schools and universities. We have science that you can't believe in, uh, and then we'll patent your DNA, and then we'll wipe you out, and we could just reproduce you in a clone lab. No, this is a true story at MIT. I used to know some of the students at MIT who went into the jungles of South America and offered them medicines and help with the science, and they took their blood. And is that with the time that they were figuring out how to patent genes, and even though that science was not wise, the technology and the business of it was very real. And so they were starting to patent the DNA of the most indigenous people on the world, because the most indigenous people on the world had the highest immune systems. And when you have the highest immune systems in the world, and you are science and your technology and your medicine, and you figured out that if you can give 1,000 people cancer and each one has insurance, this is a true story. There's actually an ad running right now, somebody warning about this, that there's money in keeping you sick. There's money in keeping you poisoned. There's money in keeping you unhealthy. There's no money in killing you. and having a bunch of dead bodies. We don't want to go there. But if you keep you alive, then once you have a cancer patient and you tell them, here's how to cure it, it costs you $16,000 a year per patient to stay alive. And we could do that. But now we have 100 people all spending. So now we just need another 10 times that so we can make more money. So what they did is they patented DNA. And once they own the DNA, there's no law preventing the subject of cloning a human being. So I could, if I had your DNA and I got rid of you, and you had the highest immune system on the earth, and I just gave everybody a low immune system, I would have the cure. Your DNA, and I would own it. And your offspring would be irrelevant if I wiped out your village. But I now own the
way ahead of yourself.
No, this is a true story. This is a true story. This comes out of MIT. The kids at MIT were patenting the DNA strands of the most powerful immune systems on Earth, who were the most indigenous people on the planet. They had the strongest immune systems. And so to lower the immune system of the Earth, those are all your customers now, because what's it called? The Hegelian dialectic problem? Problem solution. How's it go again? Do you know the Hegelian dialectic? It's like you have the answer, but now you just need the problem, and then you offer the solution because you already own the answer. So you create a problem, and then you offer the solution, and the answer is you own the only form of the answer. And this goes back to Germany and Hegel, who was a physicist that coined this phrase, and it's a weaponized science in a way of controlling a population. It has to do with survival, but it also has to do with a survival that feeds on its own kind because of power and control of like you need water, and I discover I know how to make water, so I tell you with words, hey, are you thirsty? And then I figure out how to make it not rain. How to make it not rain for months. But I know how to make water. But you don't know that. So now everyone's thirsty. So then I say, I think I have a way of giving you water. But I own all the water, and I know how to make more, and you don't. So now I dehydrate the world. Everyone's thirsty, and they all have to come to me for water. I already knew I had the water, but what I did instead is dehydrate the world, and then I now own their survival.
Stuff like that happens all the time, kind of, sort of.
Oh, it's not a small thing I'm saying.
Well, hold on.
I'm saying this because words are the thing that I use to deceive the people that we have a problem, and the problem is you need water.
The worth
not knowing that I own and control. Go ahead.
The worth of words can be boiled down to simply they're either healing or destroying. It's the same thing, the good and the bad of the same thing. Everything has a good and bad side. It's just how are you going to use them? And you can, and they're all, it's all real. It's what you choose to do.
Who's you?
Every human being, every individual has the power to create, to heal, or destroy.
What is the collective you? Who controls the collective you?
I'm not even going there. I'm just talking about individuals.
Yeah, but okay, so there's somewhere shy of what, 8 billion people on the planet right now? 7, 8, 6, 7? 6, 7. I think that's hilarious in some ways. There's a meme going around that was created from a cartoon that means absolutely nothing, but it's catching ground, and it's nothing but funny. and meaningless.
What is it?
6'7". It's just you say 6'7" and kids do this.
Oh,
It came out of South Park. It's it's a and then it has to do with the government and Peter Thiel and the end of humankind and technocracy and the end of democracy and yeah, Peter Thiel's another story. He's supposedly the Obama modern pop psychology is basically deeming him or even communication. He's the Antichrist according to many people, and his backstory is very much he's born and bred a white supremacist. He really believes that, and he's the guy that started PayPal and now owns Palantir and has contracts all over the world. But the point is that it's a big, we're having a very big conversation. And what you said about the equilibrium, the yin and yang, it's when you got to the word, and this is about word, it depends what you, and then individual became the answer to me asking you the next question. And this is what I love to do with my life. I love to never not ask the next question. That is where I think that's where the rubber meets the road, in that we live in time. So this conversation is happening in time, but there's never like, here's the end of time and now I'm right, or you're right and I'm right and we disagree. That's not, there's no resolve in what is the worth of words. If the worth of words is I'm going to survive and I'm the yin and this is the yang, which is, I don't know, yin and yang, I understand good and evil, yin and yang, but they're dichotomies.
And they're in everything. Every situation in everything. There, you can't get away from it.
Yes, you can. You know how I know? Because the birds know your name, Amy.
I think we should end it there.
She could fly by heart, invent the skies above, soar on imagination, and land on wisdom's arm. She may sound like a bird's song, she may laugh like a true friend, yet if you listen like an angel, you can hear her call you by your name. The flow, the joining, the being of we in a higher dimension. Vibrations flooding all channels, only those who feel it understand. When she reaches out to share with you, it takes a soul alignment here to hear the fallen truth unfold. Her sweet song of humility, called Amy and the Birds. Amy and the Birds, where once upon there only was the endless tale of there's two sides. Oh, the joining, the being of we in a higher dimension. Vibrations flooding all channels, only those who feel it understand. Till the in of out, the up of down, the right of wrong became transcendence. Dichotomies and divisions clashing head on. The end of every heart at war, becoming Amy, and the birds are talking. The flow, the joining, the